Hi there, Mark here again. Welcome to this part 2 of my lunchbox build. Last time we got to, I think it was step 12, where we got the rear gearbox attached. So let's get on with step 13 and get cracking. So step 13 is the rear dampers. Well, it says dampers, but they're not really dampers, are they? You need these parts C4, the chrome parts. They're just fake damper bodies. You need the long bolts that go through there. You need that rubber tubing and cut it into 4 pieces, 18mm long. Just copy the diagram. And what I've also done is I've made a couple of other smaller rubber parts. They're a couple of millimeters long now, and what I've done is fit those onto the shaft right up by the head, and that hopefully will stop that clattering around on the top of the body. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So you poke your shaft through the hole in the chassis there. Then you've got your shock body. Then your 18mm rubber tube goes over the shaft. And 3mm nut, just the standard thin nut, goes on the end of that. Okay, once you've got it like that, you need to get your spring. I think all the springs are the same. So pop your spring on. And then just get that part D9, and we need to screw that on the bottom. I'm just going to use a screwdriver from the top on that long shaft to screw that in. Okay, when it's done, it should work something like this. And we just got to pop that onto that brass ball joint on the bottom. Okay, there you go. And repeat for the other side. Step 14, the battery holder assembly. Again, it's a bit more than that, as you can see. The first thing I've done is make up the steering arms, which is using these 2 rods, BIS 10 and 11. Basically use these 5mm ball ends onto the threaded bar, and just make sure that you make the inside from each of these ball ends on the one 30mm long and 48 on the other. Just check those on a ruler. So that's those done. You need this weird kind of spiked hexagonal mount, it's called, where you're going to put the split pin through. So that you need that part, and then you need this step screw, which is a bright chrome step screw that's going to hold on this part here. That's the battery holder, D3. Okay, but before I do any of that, I'm going to fit on my 3D printed transmission brace or gearbox brace, and I think basically it goes in there, if you can see that. So I've just marked the 2 holes. I need to drill 2 3mm holes and screw it on. Okay, with that fitted, I can get on with the rest of it. So you've got this bit of foam tape. You need to stick that on here. I think that's for the servo saver. It just goes there. Then we've got this part D3, and you've got the flat end here that fits onto there with that step screw. You fit that hexagonal mount, and as it shows, you need to fit it so that you can get an R-clipping through sideways, I think. So that ends up going on there like that. And you put your clip through there. So with that, it's on to step 15, where we're going to fix this to the chassis. Okay, you're going to need 10 3x12 self-tappers for this bit. And so yeah, basically you can see where the screws go on the diagram. Get this part we've just put together, and for mine I've got to make sure now that I get that axle brace and just locate it in there. Hope you can see that in this light. And yeah, just get this part screwed in now. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 to hold that piece on. and then what you want to do is clip on your steering arms, short one to the left and the longer one to the right, obviously onto the ball joints on the servo saver. To finish this step, get part D4, and this is going to fit on the front there with your last 3 screws. So one in there, one in there, and one in there. I'll just get all these screwed up now. So I have these pieces on, just quickly show you how that brace works in the middle. Basically it just holds the centre of the gearbox in that one position, and it allows, as you can see, the suspension both sides to move up together, but also it allows it to pivot from side to side, so one wheel, if it gets knocked by a bump or a rock or so, can move on its own, and so can the other side. So you get that kind of side to side movement and also up and down. That's how that works anyway. Step 16 is making the front arms, and here's one of them that I've made up already. It's not too tricky, so to show you what you need to do for the second one. So this is the left hand side. Just make sure you follow the orientation to get the right arm. So this is the left one. As you can see, there's a lug at the bottom and the 2 bars at the front if you line it up. So that's how you know. First thing we're going to do is get your steering arm or your axle. You need to put your ball joint on the top with the little 2mm cap screw at the bottom. So yeah, I've put a bit of Loctite on there as well. So that's that, ball pointing up, as you can see, and that goes into the arm here. And then you just need BD4, which is your screw pin. Just a bit of grease on that and get that screwed in. Okay, now we need to put the shock bottom mount on, which is this kind of chrome U bracket. You need a 12mm screw, and there's a little lug in there. You might just be able to see that the bracket lines up with. There's a little cutout in the bracket. So, yep, and it goes in one way. That's it, nice and simple. So all we need to do now is put the shock bottom on, which is your D12. So you need that brass sleeve through the hole, and then locate that in that U-shaped bracket. Push in your 3x15 machine screw, and that's secured by a flange nut. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Step 17 is attaching those arms to the chassis now, and also we're going to be putting on the front bumper. So basically it shows the orientation here. It basically goes in the hole at the back and then just sits in that groove at the front, and then the other arm, same again. You need part A10. It's going to sit on there. I need to get the 3x12mm screws and do those up. We just got to pop the bumper on to that front mount there with 3 more 3x12s with a washer on each. Just finish this step, we need to just clip on your suspension arms onto the steering ball joints. And this is where you get the chance as well to, you can adjust these steering rods to make sure you've got pretty much equal steering, so that both rods are pretty straight, like so. Step 18, we're going to attach the front dampers, well, the springs and shock bodies I should say. So yeah, you need the other 2 chrome shock parts, the 2 rubber tubes that you cut before, hopefully, your 2 shafts. Again, I've put a little bit of that rubber tubing on the top below the head of the bolt there, and you just need 2 3mm nuts. Okay, similar to the rear shocks, put your shaft through the hole in the chassis, your shock body, your spring. You push on that rubber sleeve that you've cut out. I think it's 18mm long, I think, wasn't it? Then screw on your 3mm nut. And then to finish, what we need to do is screw the end of that rod into the shock bottom that's already connected to the lower arm. Just finish off using the hex wrench. It's a bit easier to screw that in because it is quite tight actually. Okay, so just repeat for the other side. Step 20 is just putting the tyres on, so yeah, force your tyres over the rims, make sure you get them the right way around, else it's going to look a bit funny with the tyre pattern facing the wrong way. But yeah, so all we need to do now is get the wheels on the chassis, I think. So yeah, step 21 is the rear ones, so you need your two B5 adapters and you need the two little steel pins. Put your steel pin through the hole in the axle. Careful not to drop it out again, and get your adapter on, and then simply your wheel, and that will match up with the adapter. You just rotate it till it locks in the right place, and then you just need to put your lock nut onto the axle. So yeah, do the same with the other rear and on the front. Again with the tread pattern facing forward. You need to put your two bearings or your bushings into the wheel, one on each side. And simply push over the axle and put the lock nut on. There we go. Just say, repeat for the other side. Okay then, so now we've got all the four wheels and tyres fitted. That's the CW01 or Lunchbox chassis complete. Yeah, wasn't too bad, was it? Quite enjoyed building it. It was quite easy, but still fun at the same time. So thanks for following along, and hopefully you'll catch me on the next one where we'll be getting that iconic bodywork finished. Cheers then. Bye.